Some traders spend years going in circles in their trading journey, trying new systems and struggling to become profitable, feeling incredibly frustrated, losing lots of money, and feel like they're running in circles. Is this you? Well, it was me too at one point. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you what worked for me to help me go from that unprofitable trader who was watching YouTube videos like you're doing right now and wondering what separates me from people who are making it in the financial markets. Why can't that be me? Well, if that's you, then hopefully in this video, I can share with you some of the breakthroughs that I made in my own trading career. And while I cannot make you profitable in a singular video, I can tell you what led me to becoming a profitable trader myself. Today's video is sponsored by DNA Funded. If you're looking to get funded and you are actually at the stage where you're already a profitable trader, then I would encourage you to check them out if the problem that you face right now is capital. Many traders just don't quite have the capital necessary in order to make their trading a worthwhile skill, to make their trading worthwhile. However, if you have the skills and you feel you're ready, I'd encourage you to check out DNA Funded. They offer up to 90% profit splits, payouts in as low as 7 days, and you can trade pretty much everything. They have a nice discount code available to my subscribers as well. A1T20 will get you 20% off any of their challenges, and the link can be found in the description down below. Now back to the video. Now, first of all, why should you listen to me? My name is Nick Syak, Trader Nick on YouTube, and I've made many six figures in the financial markets through blood, sweat, and tears in the last near 10 years of doing this. This is my whole thing. I've dedicated so many countless hours to learning how to improve in the markets, to make money. I trade a good mix of different markets, and I have dedicated my career to this path. Now, full transparency, I do not only make money from trading. I run a software company that builds tools for traders, dashboards, things like that. But many of those tools and things that I've built have been in order to assist me in my process of becoming a profitable trader and automating a lot of the process. The reason I tell you that is because there has been, on my part, a tremendous commitment to this craft in order to get to where I'm at today. I've also had the honor and privilege to interview many successful money managers, traders, and people that are notable in the industry that have clear, verified track records. And I can tell you a little bit of what I have found not only in my own journey, but through speaking to them. So if you feel frustrated, like you've run in circles and you can't figure out why I am not yet profitable, despite trying so many things, and despite you probably not being a dumb person, right? Are there dumb people who really shouldn't be trading? Sure. But I know how it feels to know I'm not a dumb person. Yet, I still can't find that consistency. So this is how I felt when I was getting into the financial markets for the first couple years. And I dedicated hours and hours every single day to trying out different systems, watching numerous different videos, trying systems, back testing, all these sorts of things. And yet I just couldn't get past that profitability mark and was overall losing money on a consistent basis. So if you feel stuck, then I hope that you stick around in this video because I have a couple things that I'm going to share with you now. The first thing, coming back to that concept of backtesting, once I really took it seriously, it made a tremendous difference in my trading. Now, I know you've probably heard many times you should be backtesting your system, you should be journaling, but ask yourself, pause and think about this for a second. Are you truly doing that at 100%? Are you truly studying your trading performance, your strategy, mechanical entries and exits, and actually testing if there is a verifiable edge in that strategy? Because I'll tell you what many traders falsely believe about the financial markets, in my personal opinion, and this held me back for years. So you ready for it? A lot of traders think that psychology is the only reason that they're not yet profitable, when I find that to be kind of BS. Now, here's the thing. Yes, you need to have psychology when you're trading. Yes, you need to be able to stick to your trading plan and manage your emotions and not freak out. But some of you, I'm sure, have gotten to a point where you're like, okay, my emotions are fine, but I'm still losing money. Like I'm still consistently losing more than I'm making. Why the heck is that going on? So trading psychology is what you'll often hear all over the internet. Hey, you should fix your trading psychology. That's why you're losing money. And oftentimes traders even think that that is the reason that they're losing money, right? But what I would encourage you to really, truly do is take $100 or even do it for free, but you can get some backtesting software that can expedite the process tremendously so that you can actually go try in a simulated environment to trade and see just how profitable you are. Now, what you will probably find is that if you actually dedicate the amount of time that I did in backtesting, you will find very quickly some sobering realities about your trading performance. What I mean mean by that is that once I actually took backtesting like very seriously, like I would literally back in early days of my college career, I would block out like 2 hours of time to do backtesting, like after I had done all my schoolwork, right? So I would literally sit there and sometimes before I would do my schoolwork because I was so into trading. But I would sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to mechanically test the heck out of this momentum trend breakout strategy. And I would define rules. And I got so into doing that I, as a programming major, would program on MetaTrader 4 expert advisors to test strategies for me so that I could run scripts and let those robots run using a particular entry and exit strategy. And what I found after doing that is that many of the strategies that I'm seeing on YouTube and that are kind of doctored up to be this amazing, really simple, easy to use, make money while you sleep trading strategy, they didn't work at all. They were not without context and without really understanding the market that we're talking about. A lot of these systems that I would find on YouTube were as good as worthless. So what I'm telling you is that you need to not trust blindly when you're watching YouTube. You need to verify the trading strategies that you are trying right now. If you are putting money on in the live market, it to me is about the same as letting a surgeon who has no medical experience operate on you or a loved one. That sounds ridiculous, right? You're talking about something very serious here. When you take your money, and many traders are managing money on behalf of family members and things like that, right? This is a very serious craft. You cannot be messing around without actually having done the research. Backtesting in trading is the research. So if you are especially a purely technical trader, which many traders watching this video probably are, I personally also use a combination of fundamental analysis and sentiment analysis in my trading. But for those who are purely technical, you have no excuse not to fully backtest everything that you're doing to ensure that what your strategy is actually built on makes sense in the long term. Have you tested your strategy on thousands of hypothetical trades to see if there exists a positive expected edge from you doing that? Strip out psychology for a second by just backtesting and say, hey, if I just do this setup over and over and over, am I likely to make money or lose money? And most traders, if you actually take the time to do that, you are going to have the sobering reality that I did, which is most of the systems that I was interested in learning about and watching on YouTube and so-and-so's fancy strategy were not making me any money, and in fact, they had negative expectancies. Now, you may be wondering, Nick, how can I get started backtesting? Literally, just pull up a website. I personally really like Forex Tester. Then there's also FX Replay. This video is not sponsored by them. I'm just telling you those are a couple services out there that may be worth looking into to get started on backtesting. It is worth every penny, in my opinion, to invest a little bit of money into the right software tools in trading so that you can actually equip yourself with the right tools. If you are serious about this, stop throwing money at the markets. This is the quickest way to stop yourself from just becoming kind of a rinse and repeat cycle of doom trader. What I mean by that is so many traders have not done the backtesting. They've not done the prep work in order to be trading live capital. And so they are dumbfounded when they're down the drain $20,000. They're super angry at the markets and they constantly feel like they're chasing their losses in order to get them back, when all of this mostly could have been avoided by actually doing the homework ahead of time. I'll tell you something else that I found by doing all this backtesting and building expert advisors to backtest strategies. All of this told me that through the tests that I was doing and running programs to see how profitable they would have been in the last 10, 15, 20 years, told me risk management is critical to profitability in trading. Like, it does not matter. You can give me any trading strategy, any set of rules, and I can tell you that if you have too big of a size on it, there's a very high probability and almost a certainty in the long enough term that you're going to blow up if your risk size is inappropriate. If you actually get into backtesting like I'm saying, you will find this to be true as well. There is no system or strategy that just mints money all the time without having substantial drawdowns. Everything has drawdown periods. And if you haven't done the backtesting, you have no idea what the downside risks of a particular strategy is. And by the way, backtesting is not perfect either. By backtesting, you get get an idea of how it has done historically, but what if you have some craziness in the next few years that really challenges your strategy? At least backtesting gives you a general framework of how your strategy would have held up in certain historical periods. So the big one for me was once I understood, okay, I need to be backtesting, I need to actually do the research and do the hard work in trading. Once I started doing that, I also recognized that systems that I would really like and they would generate a ton of returns would oftentimes blow up along the way if I let the data keep rolling. And that was a big problem for me, because here's the deal. When you have a system that looks beautiful, like it's generating 20% per month or something like that, take a look at it over a larger sample size and a good chance that account's going to blow up on a hypothetical demo run, right? So there are times where things can look amazing in a trading strategy, but everything in the markets comes back, right? There are times where something works amazing. If you're using a simple trend following moving average crossover strategy in a really trending market, yeah, it's going to look like the holy grail until you enter a chop fest market and then you have a period where you're giving back gains. The point is, most traders, ready for this? This is another big one. Most traders are looking for a holy grail trading system when you really should be looking for a decent trading system. Something that simply makes more than it loses gradually over time is the quote unquote holy grail of trading. And most traders don't realize that the way you get to that kind of muted overall slow grindy uptrend in an equity curve over the long term is through small position sizing and making your trading as boring as you possibly can. Another key thing that many traders get absolutely wrong and why they continuously stay unprofitable is because they don't truly yet have enough respect for the markets. Remember when I said a lot of traders are caught 20K down the drain and they're like, I got to get that back? They still have a fundamental disrespect for what the market actually is. This is one of the most competitive places on the planet, as money managers, geniuses, PhDs in computer science are all competing to extract money from the financial markets. So of course, some guy just out of college sitting in his, apartment trying to make a bunch of money in the markets, it's not going to be easy money for anyone. The highest levels of trading, kind of the most talented traders in the world have earned that through absolute blood, sweat, and tears. And what you have to do in order to get that to that point is respect the market immensely. And what I mean by that is never believing that, hey, I've figured this out, right? You're going to see these people on social media all the time who are like, I'm the NASDAQ killer, or, I am the gold king or whatever. Like you get all these fancy, social media profile names and things like that. But at the end of the day, the greatest traders that I know, I interviewed a gentleman named Tom Basso, and Tom Basso, successful trader, super kind person and incredibly humble, and still calls himself a student of the markets. These people that have had the most success are oftentimes the most humble about it, and they've also considered themselves students, not masters of the market. Flip that around, a lot of the social media gurus consider themselves masters and probably only make money selling courses. So if you plan on doing this long term and becoming that profitable trader that you want to become, I get it. I wanted it so bad, and I did the things necessary to get there, and it was hard work. But a big pillar that I stand on with markets is you've got to respect them for what they are. They're incredibly competitive. The market is very smart. People are constantly trying to figure out what's happening in the Middle East and what's happening with the economy. And there's really wise people trying to figure out what's happening next. So come to the market as a student, not with arrogance, trying to make 10% per month like it's going to be easy. Except that if you can make $1 per month, you're doing better than most day traders, swing traders, and even active investors. The reality is most people lose money doing this. So if you can make any amount of money consistently, you are doing far better than the average trader. Now, one of the big things that I've recognized with a lot of my audience is that they say, okay, I've done most of the things that you've just talked about, Nick, but I'm still finally getting to a point where I'm making some money, but I'm not making very much. And this right here is another thing that I had to get over in order to become the trader that I am today. Now, I did start a business. I have a YouTube channel. I have other sources of income. So I recognize that kind of position of like, okay, you have other capital that's making it so that you can scale up your trading. I recognize that not everyone has that situation. I've worked very hard for those things as well. Running a YouTube channel, a business has been also a very, very, difficult but rewarding component of my life as well. However, whatever you are at, wherever you are at with your financial journey, here's a reality that set in for me and made the biggest difference. So if I'm saying I want to manage risk by having really small positions, I want to spend a lot of time backtesting, I want to be a student, and I want to make modest gains over time, sounds like I'm not going to make a whole lot of money very quickly. Bingo. That is the reality of successful trading. If you want to do this and you want to make tons of money, get ready to start out by making very little money, especially if you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to trade with to begin with. If you're somebody who's operating with $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, that capital basis is not going to give you the opportunity to make a tremendous amount of money unless you're going to treat this like a game of roulette. If you want to take your $30,000, you want to turn it to $300,000 in the next few years, be my guest to try, but most people who do that end up with $0. So I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of going for something in the neighborhood of 2 to 5% per month on average. Not saying you can't have months where you're up 10, or not saying you can't have a 15% gain month or something like that. I do have those kinds of months periodically, but on an average overall long-term basis, I shoot for something like 2 to 5%. Many traders don't like when I say that. They say that's not enough, doesn't make it worth it to me in trading. Look, I'm not trying to make it worth it for you in trading. I'm not sugarcoating any of this. I'm telling you the realities that I've found by doing this for so many years. To become a profitable trader, you need to set your expectations much lower than what social media has wrongfully lied to you about what trading is. Many traders on social media make these ridiculous claims telling you that 10, 20% is a reasonable expectation per month, or that your $100 can easily turn to $1,000 or $10,000. That is gambling mentality, and is why so many traders, who some may not be ready to hear this, some people may disagree with me with this. I'm telling you right now, on my YouTube channel, I've done this since 2018. I have had so many traders who comment on my videos saying, Nick, I heard you talk about small position sizing and going slow. Initially, I really hated that message from you. Later on, I came back years later, and here I am. You were right. And I'm not saying that to sound smart or pat myself on the back, but I'm telling you, I have nothing. I'm no incentivized. I'm not selling you anything right now. I'm telling you the reality that small position sizing and going slow is the only way I know to consistently make money in the markets. Now, you might say, so you're never really going to get rich trading. Well, yeah, if with a short-term mindset, you're never going to get rich trading. But if you have a long-term mindset and you have many, years ahead of you to do this, and you plan on compounding and growing the account, those people are going to get rewarded. Warren Buffett basically said something along the lines of the stock market, or in this case, just general markets. The stock market is essentially a place where patient investors get paid by impatient investors. And it is so true. Many traders are so fixated on taking their $1,000 to $10,000 and then actually just taking it to zero over and over. Meanwhile, the slow and steady guys and girls out there like myself and others who have embraced this is a long-term thing. This is not something I'm trying to make a bunch of money on and then just dip out and like trading like some sort of ATM. Again, that's disrespectful to the markets. Going back to what we said earlier, respect the markets. That means take what you can get and stay modest, stay a student of the markets, and don't act like some sort of arrogant guy or girl who thinks making 10, 20% per month is a reasonable expectation. The markets are not that hard to predict. There's so many smart people trying to do it. It's a competitive atmosphere to make any sort of money. I've done many videos on this concept of what is realistic trading returns. And I've also done a video on some of the greatest traders of history. If you'd like to see what their returns are like, check out this video in the top right hand of the screen. And you may be surprised to find that the greatest traders of history, many of them struggled to even get close to a 10% monthly return, and these were geniuses. So when I first got started trading, prop firms and funding programs were not really a thing that were an internet sensation like they are today. And they get a bad rep because many traders who are not yet profitable themselves are spending a lot of money on challenges and things like that. But I wanted to say that if you've made it to the end of the video and you're like, I actually am getting closer to that point, I'm at that break-even stage, and maybe some of these tips help you out in the coming months to tip into that profitability factor, and your only real issue is capital size, what I would encourage you to look into is funding challenges that meet your criteria and your trading style. They can be a great way to scale up your trading capital if you're starting from very little. However, they are only really, in my opinion, viable for traders who are at that point of consistent profitability. So if you feel that you are at that point, or you are thinking you're getting close to that point, and you get to that point in the coming months or years, I would encourage you to check out today's video sponsor, DNA Funded. DNA Funded allows you to keep up to 90% of the profits generated on a simulated trading account. They allow you to trade 800 plus different assets. They offer payouts in as low as 7 days, and they offer unlimited trading days so that you can take your time on the 1 and 2 phase challenges that they offer. We also have a promo code with DNA Funded if you'd like to check them out and see if they're right for you. Make sure to use that link in the description down below and the promo code A1T20 for 20% off any of their challenges. I hope that video was helpful to you, and I also wanted to make sure to share our Telegram channel with you. Every day we are posting up chart markups and analysis and in-depth breakdowns of what's going on both fundamentally and technically in the markets. We also drop bonus videos in the Telegram channel, so don't miss out. Come join our Telegram channel. The link is in the description down below. Have a great rest of your day.